On today's episode of Locked On Suns, 3 true or false questions from the defense to the offense to an offseason move that is still lingering in all of our heads. We'll go deep on all 3. Let's go.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are back. This is Locked On Phoenix Suns. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Brendon Kleen, a credentialed media member covering the Suns for the past 7 seasons, a writer at Suns.com, and the host of the Just Basketball Show. Wherever you get your podcast, thanks for making Locked On Suns your first listen to close out your week. We have in-season tournament game number 1 for the Phoenix Suns on Friday night here in downtown Phoenix. Late tip. Hope you are all excited. Hope you're excited for today's show. If you're joining us for the first time or if you've just not done so before, hit follow or subscribe. Wherever you're finding us, we're free and available everywhere, including YouTube. All you have to do is hit that button to get a show in your feed every single Monday through Friday. Become an everydayer and get locked onto the Suns right along with me from now through the end of the season. Aaron Edwards is here as he is every week, and we're going true or false on 3 different questions running the whole spectrum of the Suns so far. We're not going to spend too much time on the injury stuff, the rotation stuff, whatever. That conversation is boring. I don't know if Devin Booker will play, and we will just have to see. But there's a lot to talk about anyway. Beal is back. The defense has been steady. And, of course, the big conversation coming off of Wednesday night's game, Jusuf Nurkic, so we will get to all of that. Today's show brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. You can go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA or use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, Aaron, so let's just kick it off here. People have been talking about the point guard need, not need. I think that's probably like the biggest talking point about the Suns right now nationally outside of just obviously the health, but what is your read on it? What's your vibe on whether that is an actual need or it's something that will just go away once Booker, Beal, and Durant are all actually on the court together?
I almost texted you yesterday about it, honestly. And I think it's one of those things we do kind of need, not for the starters, obviously. Like, Book's going to get doubled. KD's going to get doubled. Like, people are going to end up open. KD's probably going to turn it over every once in a while, but that's fine because we're going to get a lot of open shots. You don't really need a point guard for stuff like that. Like, he's going to get doubled. Defense is going to scramble. Corner threes. Like, any person can figure that part out. I think the second unit stuff where when those guys sit and other teams like kind of double without really caring about that, especially with the lack of shooting that's going to be on the court, I think that's when you need to – why the Warriors wanted CP3, like to slow down that second group and not do the running gun thing, just to like slow the pace down and not necessarily gain a lead, but just keep a lead or just to like hold them off just so the guys get a rest. I think that's the bigger thing why we need it. Like, we have dudes that can score in that second unit, but maybe we might need the pace to slow down a little. And we were turning the ball over a lot. Like, Eubanks turned the ball over a lot. Like, a lot of those guys aren't natural guards. So when KD's not out there getting doubled, it's a lot harder to make the defense scramble. So that's why I think we need a point guard.
Yeah, the stat that people have pointed to a lot this year is the Suns are 22 points per 100 possessions better on offense with Kevin Durant on the court this year, which obviously you could look at 2 ways. One, that's very good for Kevin Durant. It means that he is certainly not at the end of his leash as a player and is going to be very, very good this season, but also you don't want to rely on him that much. The offensive rating with him off the court has been 99 per 100 possessions. It's just not good enough. I think the big question that I have, something that I tried to talk about on last night's show that I'm not sure I put very well and why I wanted to maybe hit on it again today is my fear about them after watching the team without Booker and without Beal, and then last night with Beal but without Booker and all the combinations we've seen is, what if the only good playmaker, reliably title-level playmaker for this team is Booker? Like, because you could still feel good that when he comes back, this offense will be back into the top 5 and they'll have these explosive nights and they'll win a bunch of games. And I probably agree with that. But what about if he's the only one? Because I haven't felt awesome about Eric Gordon as a primary initiator. I haven't felt great about Jusuf Nurkic because there's going to be turnovers, and I just don't think a title team should be running its offense through like its 7th best player all that often. That just is not super logical to me. So that's, I guess, maybe the fear that I would say that I have, and why it might not have to be like, well, it's not able to be anybody great. They've already played all their chips, but it could even just be a little like it kind of made me, Aaron, honestly, I was like, maybe the TJ McConnell thing made sense. Maybe James Jones had something there.
I really was sitting. It was like when we went on that stretch where Eubanks turned the ball over like twice in a row, and like nobody was cutting and nobody could get to the ball. Like Eubanks was just stuck up there trying to get it to somebody, and I was just like, we need a point guard right now. And TJ McConnell popped into my head, I swear. And I was just like, anything would fix this. Like any ball handler that's comfortable would fix this situation right now. And yeah, like I really think that we just need somebody to slow the pace down and distribute the ball. And like we don't need to get buckets, but we just need to not. We're losing possessions just with all these turnovers that we're having.
Yeah, it's just too much to ask of Durant. I would like to see Beal be healthy. Like I was going through the game again because I'm trying to put a video together for the Subtext subscribers, and they didn't really put the ball in his hands in the first half, but then in the second half, especially the beginning of the third quarter, they did, and he didn't really get downhill. It didn't seem like he was comfortable turning the corner and actually doing Bradley Beal things outside of a couple. He got to the line once. He had one kick out to the corner that looked good, but it was like literally those two. So that will get better. Maybe just the presence of Booker and the reduction of everybody's roles just kind of locks things into place where Gordon or Nurkic or Allen or these other guys look better than we thought. Maybe even Durant as a playmaker gets a little easier when he's always on the court with, maybe it's always 2 of them are on the court is how you try to do it. There's ways that I can be convinced that it can be manageable, but all the other solutions that this team was supposed to have at that playmaker spot outside of Booker have left me a little bit cold, so that even my optimism about Booker, the way he's looked like a straight-up MVP, I don't know if that's going to be enough. So I guess to wrap it up as a true or false thing, are we both saying they need to do something here? Is it wait and see a little bit longer? How true is it that they like absolutely need a point guard in your eyes?
I feel like there's no way I can say they absolutely need one. Our stars have not played a single game together. So until we can put defenses into that situation, like I won't really know. Like we can't know because Bill's not healthy, Book hasn't played, and KD had 9 assists yesterday. I think the best version of why we won't need a point guard is gonna go through him. Like him catching it at the high post and getting doubled and making the right choice every time. I think at that point with Book and Beal on the floor, that'll show how much we really don't need a point guard, especially with we don't really know how Vogel's going to use these minutes. We don't know like who's going to be playing with the second unit. Is it going to be Beal time or it's going to be Book time? Who gets like 4 minutes, then Book comes in? Like we don't know how he's going to do that. But I think he's smart enough to know that the point guard situation is rough and he can't just have Gordon and Grayson Allen out there at the same time because they're not those type of guards.
Exactly. It's like let them, with the Durant thing, try to help the way the Warriors were helping or the Lakers were helping if it's Booker and Beal either just stationary in the corner, moving, doing their thing. It's a lot different than Victor Wembanyama floating away from Josh Okogie out there and just taking away the paint. So I think I'll say false too because of that, but also because even if I can convince myself somebody like McConnell or whoever it is, by the way, not campaign, he is not the type of player that would solve the problems we're talking about. He's very much like an Eric Gordon or a Grayson Allen where it's like get him in space, he can make a decent decision, he can dribble, he can make shots, but that's not an improvement on what they have. Any way that I think they might benefit from those types of players, it's only for the regular season at the end of the day. And so that's the thing I said all offseason. I'm not going to back down from that now. The past, 4 championship winners or so. When is the last time that an NBA champion had a traditional point guard?
Yeah.
I guess Kyle Lowry in 2019, maybe?
Yeah. I think this hypothetical point guard wouldn't we're kind of learning what the rotation is kind of going to be in the playoffs now. I'm sure you talked about Katie Bates-Diop already. It's going to be those minutes are going to be taken. He's rangy and he can guard. We're getting to see who's going to play and who can't in real time. Even before the guys come back. And I don't think there's going to be space for a point guard, a traditional one at least, when those minutes really start getting crunched down.
Especially because those guys are usually small, and this team doesn't want to play small. You can't play super small in the modern NBA. I don't think TJ McConnell is a playoff player, and I said that when the rumors came up. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm still going to say false. We'll see if that bites us both for continuing to hold out hope, but that's where it stands right now. Next, let's go. Let's just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Deandre Ayton trade. Way too early. Nonsensical, maybe even, to do right now, but all these guys have played a lot of minutes early in the season, so it is worth looking back on. We'll do that next. First, today's show brought to you by Jase Medical. We spend a lot of time talking together. We get fired up together on wins and losses, who starts, who sits, and I'm thankful for that connection today. I want to get a little more personal with you guys. We just learned that Jase Medical is offering a 1-year supply on ED medication in addition to their wonderful offering of antibiotics in their Jase case. You can bring that on extended travel, whether there's a supply chain issue or any sort of other disturbance in the area you live, the other area you're traveling, you're covered. You don't have to worry about whether you can refill your generic prescription or anything else, and all that's possible because of our friends at Jase Medical. So go online right now at jasemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. We have a customer writing into us who said, I'm thankful for the service. Supply chain issues caused them to cut those pills in half just to be able to have it. They ordered most of their daily meds with a year's supply as well as an antibiotic kit from Jase Medical. They feel super secure, got a lower price than their local pharmacy, and they, of course, recommend it to everybody. So if you or someone you know would love to get that peace of mind by having a year's supply of their everyday daily medication, anything that they want, including those antibiotics, go to jasemedical.com to see if it's offered. Remember, promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase at Jase Medical, Jase Medical.com. All right, keeping it rolling here. Question number 2, Aaron. Did the Suns make the right trade as part of the Damian Lillard deal, giving up DeAndre Ayton, getting back Jusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, and Nasir Little? Where are you 2 weeks in on that question? True or false?
This is still so early to answer this. I'm going to say true, but just because Grayson has just been a lot better than I thought he was going to be. And the Nurk thing is, we're going to get what we get from him. There's going to be nights where he looks like he shouldn't be in the NBA, and there's going to be other nights where he almost puts up a 20-point trip up. If that's the trade-off, then I'll take it. He fights down low, and against bigger, less athletic dudes is kind of a wash. So I think if he won't stop Jokic by any means, but I think just that kind of pace is a lot better for him. The Anthony Davises and the Embiids of the world are just going to toast him though. So yeah, I'm fine with taking that trade off if he's a good decision maker and can score every once in a while and can keep possessions alive. And the Grayson Allen thing, I like it. He can ball, and I think he's probably going to be in a rotation over Gordon every once in a while, which was probably the bigger surprise that I saw. And Little started at first, he was getting a lot more playing time over Katie Bates-Diop, and that was kind of what is he doing at practice, whereas Nasir Little is playing over him? I think that was just part of the athleticism and just the trade needing to work a lot better, or Vogel just trying stuff out. But I like what we got for it. I think we have bodies, we have athleticism, and we got dudes that can shoot. Yeah,
I'll give my answer, but I also want to focus on the ways in which Nurkic and Ayton are similar and different, because it's super interesting to watch Nurkic night in, night out, especially with this bigger role somehow than he had in Portland on a bad team. But
yeah,
want to remind everybody to also be checking out the Locked On Suns Insider Text Alert. The link is in the description down below, or you can go to subtext.com/LockedOnSuns. My first reaction to all Suns news, I'm keeping my eyes peeled on the injury report every day. I am watching and reading all the things so you do not have to, and I will give you that news as well as my reaction to it. Game day content and observations starting Friday night at Footprint Center, as well as the Verizon practice facility. Anything I see, anything I notice, anything I can snap a video or a picture of, as well as an exclusive video breakdown starting also tomorrow with a Bradley Beal breakdown from his return back. You can also respond to me personally, get that one-on-one engagement. Again, link is in the show description to the Locked On Suns Insider Text Alerts, or you can go to subtext.com/LockedOnSuns. I'll go with Aaron on this one. True. I think they made the right trade. But to get into the specifics on Nurkic, I tweeted during the game, and it is funny to me that we somehow ended up watching another center every night who doesn't want to go up strong and dunk off of offensive rebounds or dump off passes or any sort of situations like that. The number of times late in that game where he got an offensive rebound off of Durant's misses and then didn't make a shot or wanted to pass it was like enough to make you tear your hair out. But at the same time I'm saying that, he gets the offensive rebound. He puts himself in position to make the right pass, make the right play, knows where that is looking for it. Yeah, there will be turnovers, but that's what happens when you play that way. And I'm willing to just take the good with the bad with him, because I think it's easy to forget that there was a lot of bad with the good that Ayton brought. And it is different. It is a trade-off. There are things that the Suns don't have that they would have had with Ayton. Maybe their ceiling is lower. I don't necessarily know. But there are clear things that Nurkic is able to do, that he wants to do, that Ayton was just never going to.
Yeah, I think just even getting into the offense, like if he gets a defensive rebound, the comfort they have with letting him just take it down, like just start the offense off a rebound and not give it up to KD or Book or anybody. Like
there was a time where they inbounded it to him off the sideline and he walked the ball up. I was like, what are we doing? It's weird.
I think just having a big that has the comfort to do that is a fair trade. Like I think if you want to take the slow feed on defense and the difficulty off of pick and rolls and like getting attacked and drop coverage, like if you want to take that trade that Ayton was he had amazing feet and he can stay in front of you, and no matter how athletic your big was, he kind of felt comfortable in front of them. I think that's the trade-off that we get. A dude that's very comfortable on offense, who kind of doesn't go up strong every once in a while, but can get your offense moving and it doesn't get stagnant. Like there were some times when it was like the Klay Thompson thing. If the ball's touching his hands, it's going up. And I think that's the thing with how it was with Ayton. With Nurk, he's kind of getting used to this position that he's put in on this team, and he's the facilitator, and he's gotten a lot more comfortable with it.
Absolutely. I think if I sit there and break it down in my head for too long, there's part of me that's like, is this about to be headed toward Kevin Durant having to play like 25 minutes at center in the playoffs? But we're not there yet. It's way too early. There are times where guys who aren't even elite just beat him defensively. And whether that's the ball handler getting downhill and finishing before he can, get set up as a rim protector, or it's just the big man.
Yeah, Zach Collins roughed him up a little bit.
I mean, Victor Wembanyama, isn't Nurkic kind of the type of guy that you would have said Vic would struggle with as a rookie because he has 100 pounds on him? And that did not happen. So, yeah, there's going to be those situations, but I think there were going to be moments like that with Ayton, and we've also seen it with Ayton. So it's a lot less guessing, too. We've never really seen Nurkic on a really high-level team, so I'm at least willing to kind of see it through in a way where with Ayton, it would have been a lot of finger-crossing again. I'll say I agree with you on Grayson Allen. I think he right now feels like, he's shooting 50% from three. I think he has to be ahead of where Eric Gordon is in the rotation. especially playing off now that the other guys are healthy again. And Little, we'll see. I think he is somebody who, if you're ever going to see him break through in terms of the decision-making and whatnot and reading of the game that he's going to have to do to solidify himself as an NBA player, it should happen on a team like this where his job is going to be very, very simple. But it didn't happen yet, and he's already now lost a spot in the rotation. So maybe Utah's struggles make it so we see both Bates Diop and Little out there in one game. Or, I think Vogel has shown he'll mix things up. But right now, I would say stock up on Allen, stock down on Little, and Nurkic. It's just it's a roller coaster. It's literally stock up and stock down, changes possession to possession with that man.
Yeah, sometimes he looks like one of the most skilled bigs. I mean, he hit a Euro step and an and one. Well, should have been an and one layup for the game winner. Like, and you get that, and then at the same time, you just get blown by every once in a while by dudes that aren't even close to as good as you. So, like I said, it's the trade that we're going to have to take because it's the trade that we made.
Yeah, or he'll just try to hit a quick touch pass out to a guy he didn't actually make sure was standing where he thought he was standing, and the ball's going out of bounds. Like, it is just a whole lot of a player who we didn't even know would be on this team a month ago, or about a month ago. And now all of a sudden is just so involved in every game. And I'm not even putting a qualifier or a good or a bad on that. I'm just saying it's the facts of what's happening. And we will measure it and monitor it as we go and see what this all looks like. But final question, true or false today, relates to the defense, and had an interesting question from a Locked On Suns insider text subscriber who asked me about when Okogie and Goodwin maybe lose their rotation spot or see their minutes go down as Booker and Beal work their way back. What happens to the defense? I think it's a really good question, so we'll talk about it next. First, today's show brought to you by Prize Picks, who have come in and saved daily fantasy sports. You know about Prize Picks. You know how much I love Prize Picks if you're an everydayer, but for those who do not, it is basketball season, which means they have their specials league running over at Prize Picks as well, created specifically for combo projections, including 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, you can go LeBron James or Travis Kelce. Shout out to everybody in the comments who made fun of me for botching Kelsey's name yesterday. I got it right that time. You can go 10.5 combo of threes made plus receptions for a combo like that. You can go, maybe you want to just double up on Phoenix. Get those Kyler passing yards. Go get those Bradley Beal points, and you can combine it. It is no league, no pool, no head-to-head. It's just you versus the Prize Picks player projections. They offer quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types in those projections, making Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com now /LockedOnNBA, prizepicks.com /LockedOnNBA, and use the code LockedOnNBA when you make your first deposit to get a first deposit match up to $100. Anything you put in up to $100, Prize Picks will match that straight back into your account when you use the code LockedOnNBA. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. One final question, true or false here for you, Aaron, and I will give my answer as well relating to the defense. I have some stats we can get into here as well. First, want to let everybody know to follow the Locked On Suns TikTok account, where I will be responding to crazy stats each and every game instantaneously, funny news, silly stuff, all the things that don't really need to be talked about on this wonderful podcast, but that I still have thoughts on. Link is in the show description for that as well. Obviously, if you're already on TikTok, just search Locked On Suns. Get content there on pretty much a daily basis as well. All right. Shout out to the subscriber who asked about the defense, and Aaron, I have some numbers. So this year, so far, Jordan Goodwin, the defense is 19 points better per 100 possessions when he has played. After last night, it actually went down for Okogie, or maybe the past couple games. I can't remember the last time I looked at this. It's still 7 points better when Okogie plays, but that's not quite as crazy as it had been. First of all, let's just start here. Do you think Goodwin will not play when Booker and Beal are both in the lineup again?
I think he will. I think he's going to be more comfortable. I think that's when it's going to get weird for Eric Gordon. I think that.
So you think Goodwin's going to play over Gordon? Okay, you gotta tell us what you mean.
I think when you have scorers on the floor, it gives them like the defense is a little shaky when it's just Gordon and Allen. And I think once he has the flexibility to not worry about lulls in getting to the line or scoring points, he can put out somebody aggressive on defense. And I don't think necessarily like guard wise. I think Goodwin thinks he can guard anybody, and I think he's going to have the flexibility to.
He's so big.
Yeah, I think he's going to have the flexibility when he has all his real guards back to throw Goodwin out there when he's a defensive coach. And if you want to throw out a disruptor and put maybe Goodwin and Bates Diop and just go like with a lineup like that with scoring, I can see him wanting to do that because he has another versatile defender like Okogie. I still think Okogie's going to be the first option, but knowing that he can kind of put clamps out there and dudes who are aggressive and take chances on defense, but not in a reckless way anymore. Goodwin was reckless at first, but he's not fouling as much, and he's kind of just he knows what he means to this team now. I think that he can kind of do that over Gordon every once in a while.
It's insane to me how similar they are as players, down to even the offensive rebounding ability. Like, they just do all of the same stuff on the court. But Goodwin so far this year on corner threes is shooting just 18%. Or no, sorry. No. 40%. I got that wrong. Very big difference. Only 18% of his shots are there is what I meant to say, which is actually down from Washington. As an overall catch and shoot this year, again, all these are very, very tiny amounts, but 7 of 20 from 3 in terms of catch and shoot, 35%. And then if you look at wide open threes, 36%, and that's on 14 attempts. So the shooting looks ugly, and I think the biggest reason that it does overall, the reason it might feel so kind of weird when he's out there offensively so far is that he is not making twos. And I don't fully know what is going on there because, again, he is big. He is a guy who is used to having the ball in his hands. But he's 5 of 13 at the rim this year, which means if you're following the numbers I just went through, he's shooting worse or at least about the same on wide open threes as he is at the rim. That should not be happening for somebody who's 6'3" and 225 or whatever he is. So you like Goodwin over Okogie, at least, it sounds like.
No, I still like Okogie more. I just mean we can do a lot of stuff with our guard lineups now because we're going to have 2 of the best playmaking guards on the floor. And if you want to throw in another bigger one and another Okogie's pretty much a guard too, honestly. But if you want to just throw in lineups of dudes that are just great on-ball defenders and kind of just be reckless and get weird with it, you can do that with strong guys that can also rebound. You can do a lot of stuff with dudes like that.
So matchup to matchup, I think I agree. I'm curious how weird Vogel gets. I would say I like Okogie overall. I trust him more when he's on the court than Goodwin. But I think if you're looking for shooting and you're kind of crossing your fingers that somebody can provide you enough floor spacing and defense to get away with playing them, then maybe Goodwin's the better bet. Looking out toward the whole season, I would say my guess is that Goodwin will not be in the rotation on a daily basis once Booker and Beal are both back. I also would even say that one of Okogie or Yuta is going to get a little bit thinned out too in terms of their minutes. We're just going to see these stars play so much that it's not going to be there for everybody. But zooming out a little bit more than just that question, because the person's question overall, and I keep saying person, I would definitely love to shout these people out, but the service keeps it anonymous for obvious reasons. It'd be weird if I was just getting people's social security numbers because they decided to sign up for this service that I'm doing. So that's why I don't know. Shout out to you, whoever you are out there. Is about the defense overall, because those guys have had such an impact, because they've been so key to switching, defending at the point of attack, creating turnovers, all those sorts of things. What happens when they play less? Is it crazy to say that Keita Bates-Diop's arrival counteracts all of that? Can he be good enough? Because I think what we'll see is, Aaron, that the Suns will get
lap right now.
I mean, it pretty much is. The box score does not show it, but go look at RB on Twitter. I think it's at RYB_211 or something. He put together a 3-minute highlight reel of Keita Bates-Diop defensive possessions today that I retweeted, and it's a great day for those of us who always believed. But what I think we're going to see is they're going to go back to playing, or they're going to start playing defense the way that we expected them to. And you're seeing that already. Yes, he was good, Bates-Diop, against DeMar DeRozan one-on-one in a lot of moments, but you also saw him just the way that he can help at the nail. If he just is a 6'9" Jay Crowder, that goes a long way for this defense when you also now have Kevin Durant on this team. So I kind of think it'll look different. It might dip a little, but I think that if you believed this team could be good at defense in the first place, I don't think you would have said it was because of Jordan Goodwin. So you got to still just believe that it'll be good, just without the personnel and scheme maybe that they've had the first couple weeks.
Yeah, I think the question mark was always going to be, is Beal going to be willing? Can he do it? And the second was, can Nurk not foul, and can he do it? Those are like the big things. I thought even when it was a Kogi, I thought we'd be fine at the other spots. It was asking two dudes that kind of hadn't been in this position before, would they be willing to learn and be better defenders for the sake of a really offensive team? And if those two question marks, which we've yet to see because we've seen one of them at least, but if we can see if Bradley Beal is willing and able, then that'll be a long way to telling what this team can look like defensively, especially if Nurk just doesn't foul and at least holds up against athletic bigs a little bit.
I'll say that was the part of Beal's return that I liked the least. I think Kobe White is not a super fun player to have to guard when you're first coming back. He's a guy that's far from an all-star type of player, but he's quick. He is looking for a bucket at all times. He's pretty good at moving without the ball. So there were just a lot of moments where he just blew past Beal, whether he was dribbling or just kind of trying to get open. And that doesn't feel great because it's just Kobe White. But again, the dude hasn't played NBA basketball since, March or whatever. So I'm not going to hold it against him too much. But yeah, those questions haven't been answered. They're still going to be there. I think the Nurkic thing is going to be night to night, as we talked about at the beginning. But I just think that this team's going to be able to use its size and length to create turnovers, take away the paint, be aggressive, be a little bit more unpredictable in terms of how are they going to be guarding this. They're not going to be just offering up their, lunch to be eaten by Nikola Jokic because they just roll out the same coverage, too many times. I think those things are still going to be strengths here, and you're just going to finally kind of get to see it with Booker's defense back on the court, with Bates-Diop and his help, and obviously the other guys that have been in there all along. So true or false, the Suns defense will get worse with Josh Okogie and Jordan Goodwin playing less. I'll probably say true, but going from top 5 to top 12 is still going to keep them in championship contention would be my probably take on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be I think we'll be in the middle, and that's fine with I think our offense is going to be better. We still didn't even talk about the 3-point shooting. We shot 48 yesterday. And I think that's just going to be a lot even easier when we have 2 elite scorers on the floor. That's just going to help a lot. We're still in number 16 in 3-point attempts. So those numbers are going to get cranked up once guys are more open right now.
Absolutely. That was 3 true or false questions to answer as we hopefully get back to normalcy here in Phoenix. Suns Lakers at 8 o'clock tonight. If things go well, if it's competitive, if it's fun, if Beal does some awesome stuff, if Booker happens to be able to play, I will do a bonus episode for you guys. So hit follow or subscribe wherever you're finding the show. Make sure to subscribe in the description below to the Locked On Suns Insider Text Alerts. Follow on TikTok. And we will be back with you next week.